Valentinian Commentary on the Gospel of John, chapter 1, reading from Rotherham's Emphasized Bible, chapter 1 and verse 1. Originally was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was originally with God. All things through him came into existence, and without him came into existence not even one thing. That which has come into existence in him was life, and the life was the light of men. Therefore the Father, being unknown, wished to be known to the Aeons, and through his own thought, as if he had known himself, put forth the Only-Begotten, the Spirit of knowledge, which is in knowledge. So he too, who came forth from knowledge, that is, from the Father's thought, became knowledge, that is, the Son. Because through the Son the Father was known, but the Spirit of love has been mingled with the Spirit of knowledge, as the Father with the Son, and thought with truth, having proceeded from truth as knowledge from thought. The Father could be known through the two spirits proceeding from him, which were mingled together. These spirits are the Spirit of knowledge and the Spirit of love. Now, since the word logos means the entire thought, it would be logical to conclude that this reasoning had within itself foreknowledge, forethought, insight, or nous. This is referred to as the Spirit of knowledge. Also contained within the reasoning is life, grace, light, which is the Spirit of love. The principal four Aeons consist of the mind, the truth, the logos, and the life, but the Father was not counted as a member of the pleroma. It should be noted that the Aeons are attributes or aspects of the Father. They are not separate persons or separate beings. Note, the Only-Begotten is the Father's own thought, also called the Spirit of knowledge. But we maintain that the essential Logos is God in God, who is also said to be in the bosom of the Father, continuous, undivided, one God. God came forth, the Son, mind of the All. This means that even his thought takes its existence from the root of the All, since he had him in mind. The All pre-existed within the Father, and the Son, who is the Father's thought and will, revealed it. Now, if you remember the introductory reading at the beginning from Rotherham's Emphasized Bible, instead of saying in the beginning, it was rendered originally was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was originally with God. This translation will help us to understand the Valentinian interpretation of the Gospel of John. Now, since he is speaking of the first origination, he does well to begin with teaching at the beginning with the Son and the Word. He speaks as follows: the Word was in the beginning, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It was in the beginning with God. John chapter 1 and verse 1. First he distinguishes three things: God, beginning, and Word. Then he unites them. This is to show forth both the emanation of the latter two, the Son and the Word, their union with one another, and simultaneously with the Father. For the beginning was in the Father, and from the Father, and the Word was in the beginning, and from the beginning. Well did he say, the Word was in the beginning. for it was in the Son, and the Word was with God. So was the beginning, and the Word was God. Reasonably so, for what is engendered from God is God. This shows the order of emanation. The entirety was made through it, and without it was not anything made. John chapter 1 and verse 3. For the Word became the cause of the forming and origination of all the Aeons that came after it. The phrase "the Word was in the beginning" was not a temporal expression relating to time, but it shows the order of emanation. What does he mean by beginning? You see, some can argue that he means beginning as in God forever and eternal past, but if that's the case, there really is no beginning with God. Others might argue, well, beginning in the sense that when God conceived of creating the perfect sons and daughters of God, the human beings, whatever other beings he might have created in the universe, that was the beginning, and the Son was there from the beginning. The message here is that God has everything in mind from the beginning, whatever he produces from the beginning, and as the brethren of that beginning, Christ is the eternal forever in the past, or at that beginning, at that time of which he conceived the concept of the Son as being part of the story of humankind. This does not really matter because for us humans, from our perspective, it is the beginning of everything anyway, and that's really all we need to know and will probably likely ever know anyway. Since the term logos signifies an inward thought, it would be logical to conclude that logos is silence. Silence as our partner or companion with depth. The depth is another aspect or attribute of the Father or the deity. Thus, the Logos is the silent thought of the deity. The deity was reasoning with himself. This reasoning led to the rest of the emanations or attributes coming forth from the divine mind. The deity was always self-aware and had self-knowledge. There is one life force, the creative, all-embracing life, even the Logos, which is God. This life is eternal and without limit, from before time to everlasting. The things made or externalized are from the one and inseparable mind and thought, or God and Logos, the self-existent and ever-active, the cause of all that appears. The divine mind or Logos, the ever-present, all-knowing mind, the absolute, the unlimited, present everywhere, at the same time, all-wise, all-loving, all-powerful Spirit. There is but one mind, and that mind cannot be separated or divided. All that we can say of the one mind is that it is absolute. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 16, for who knows the mind of Yahweh so as to instruct him, but we have the mind of Christ. The divine mind, the creative power or spirit in action. The divine mind first conceives an idea, then brings its external form to fulfillment. Believers acting in accordance with the divine mind place themselves under the same creative law and thus brings the divine ideas into manifestation. The first emanation is Logos, the masculine father principle of the divine mind that thinks and plans the moulds for all expressions through form. Mind builds form. The second emanation is love, the feminine mother principle of the divine mind. Love, substance, that nourishes and sustains the moulds formed by mind. Love fills form. The Logos is light, life and action. The Logos is the Christ principle, holy breath, Holy Spirit. This is the beginning, the first day of manifestation. As the emanations completed their second circuit, the deity begot lesser gods, the Elohim, who planned the rest of the manifestation or the rest of creation. The deity is spirit as well as Logos, wisdom and life. This is Sophia.